first tribulation and the Rastafarian movement in Jamaica was 1950, when a man by the name of Wappy King go on the Palisades Road, which is the Norman Manley Airport Road, and there was a Chinese girl and a Chinese boy on the beach, and him killed the boy and rape off the girl and threw the girl in the sea thinking she go drown, and then him ride off and leave her. When she get rescued, she told the police that it's Rasta because the guy have on him beard, but he didn't have no hair on his head. He was a rascal under this guise of Rasta. So when him doing wickedness, he go shave off. So there was a man who saw him coming from that way on a bicycle and know that the guy is that kind of guy and see him trim off his beard. So he report to the police that guy. When the girl said, while him and her, he was doing what him doing raping, she crop up her face, which have a whole heap of mark in her fingernail, you know, mark up her face. So everywhere them see a Rasta, they take knife and cut off her beard off her face. I search that mark they know to find out. So every man who have a beard was being persecuted for that.
And one morning, when I push a car, I have a little contract, go to Alpha. Come from Alpha, I see a crowd in Coronation Market. When I look and ask why, them say a Rasta man who sweep in the market. Police beat him up and then carry him gone to hospital, public hospital. So when the policeman then come down there, then catch all the Rasta man then by their nuts, so, you know, and hold them, you know, and put on something and bite the stick on them, you know, the button, and catch them drum, and step in at the drum and throw all the drum them in a fire. And we start run, we have to run from them because they have tear gas.
Holy Thursday, 1963, a news come over the ear, say, uprising in Montego Bay, Coral Gardens. 6 Rasta, burn down a gas station, kill a man, 3 of the Rasta get shot dead, 2 arrested, 1 at large, 300 in jail.
I wrote about the incident of the Rastafarian uprising as of April 11, 1963. I was one of the police officers in that incident. We received reports from whilst at the station from the area that a gas station was on fire. So I went in the armory and the inspector had ordered that I take out 6 rifles with ammunition. I took the rifles out and they were distributed among the men, including myself. And we loaded a long base Land Rover and went towards Coral Gardens.
We are in Salt Spring, which is very important in the Coral Garden incident. Why is it important? Because the brother who had the problem with the system, with Babylon, he used to have his farm just about a mile or 2 from here, above Salt Spring in Flower next door. With Salt Spring and Flower are like neighbors, you know. Most of the people in Salt Spring, Flower Hill, work on the property at Rosal.
My man will never, no, never
No, Rudolph went up on the property. And him a burn coal. Him never work with the planters them.
Yeah.
So the coal when I burn now, them claim so the people them where they develop never like the smell. The coal burning. So then tell him to go over yonder.
Yeah.
So then go over yonder and you have a ranger who bump. You know some Jamaican ranger them bumpy. And then go up there and see man say, Rasta boy, you know so you know fi burn coal for the people them property. So the thing now, they have a place down in the sun here, white gut. Everybody afraid, I know people afraid down there so. You have a road from now a half moon, go right to where me live there now in a Mount Zion, because Mount Zion me live. And there so the police then go down and catch him. Around 3 police nights up here. So they must say want him and want the Rasta fi tap and come in. Sometimes not tap because him not go on a mission. So they so now hack the police and thing and the news go out to Rasta and police war. So you know hell was loose.
Brother Franklin at that time was a very popular youngster among the Rastafarians group in Jamaica, Montego Bay. And not only was he popular among Rastafarians, but he was popular among the underprivileged youngsters in the entire area.
So now we have Rudolph as we father. Because you know, most of we call him we father. To how him used to treat us as young youth.
My name is Sheena Franklin. I am the daughter of Rudolph Franklin. He always come, you know. Me see people running up and down. You don't know who is here. Rudolph. They wonder to myself because I was so small. They wonder to myself, say, who is this man that everybody have to, you know, run up and down. Rudolph is in the place and things like that.
And one evening we coming from school. We see a guy lie down into a jeep like this, lie on him face with him foot stretched out the back. So everybody tried to wondering, who is the person? So we didn't know who is it until about 8 o'clock in the evening. There's a man come from out where we were living and tell us that Rudolph get shot today. No, that was 1961. Yeah, 1961, October.
I know Rudolph. I don't know his whereabouts, where he live. I don't know nothing about him. I only know that I buy coal, I buy corn, I buy peas, beans, and I buy okra from him. That's what I know. I don't know nothing. I don't know if he was a bad man. I don't know if he was a good man. Until I hear that them shoot him.
Rudolph's father died and leave a lot out of Coral Gardens. When he go on the lot now, he start chop it down and burn coal, and they then make them start farm till they get the land clear now, then start farm. After they start farm now, Rosal manager, they send workers over there to check what the man they do. But then say a Rosal then depend. So after them go there and check you out and carry back the news to the manager. Say then they farm this and then they farm that. Then say alright. Then they set up for good when the project start reap. When they start reap the project now, then carry a battalion of police go there. And when they go the battalion of police go there, then chop down, they reap what they reap, pumpkin, melon, every little thing what they see they reap it. And after they reap it now, then the order to chop it down and then chop it down. Alright, for the first time, the girl say to them, say, man, I'm not a quarters here now. I have my title and thing, I make me a lawfully here. Then say, man, you come down too much from Rosal. So you have to advance up further up.
I grew up in a farming community. I love to see plants grow. And one of the things that I had to do whilst a young cop in Montego Bay was to go out with the bulldozers to bulldoze farm crops on the Cardiards property. These people would have gone on the property, they have no permission, and cultivate their crops. And so they were trespassers. And so the admin would call the police. Police would arrange to go there and then bulldoze the crops. And there were many times that I stood almost at the point of tears when I saw those beautiful crops, cabbage, corn, cassava, yam, being plowed up
Then go back there the second time and then do the same thing. And after they reap down what did they know? But I said, no, what is this? See me try clear. Then say, man, you come down too much from Rosal. So hard branch up, second time. Then chop down and reap for them to reap and go away. Third time, I'm going to come back now. Rodolph got one machine the plant can. So when the police then go there, and Rodolph got the machine. He said, drop it, Rasta man, drop the cutlass, drop that cutlass. Rodolph said, but imagine. When you come up here with the gun, being it and all different kind of thing, and I Rasta man tell you, say, if you drop it. And I got I cut this the farm, my little perform. And you come tell me if you drop my cutlass. A 3 bullet then give him.
He was working in one of the Carjar's place, a part of the Carjar's property in Coral Gardens area. And of course, he was planting marijuana. Well, the police went there not to raid him for marijuana, but to execute a warrant for him to leave the Carjar's property. And it so happens that the day when the police went there to serve him this summon, seemed to be, he was uncooperative, and there seemed to be some altercation between himself and the policeman who had gone there to serve him the summon. And the police shot him. He was not dead, he was injured, and he was taken to the hospital and stayed maybe about 3 months in the hospital before he was released. After he was released, he was taken before the court, tried, convicted, and sentenced to time served and 3 months in prison. He was a very hurting man, and when he came out of prison, he vowed that he was going to take revenge on those who had caused him to go to prison.
I see him in the hospital, and him get 9 months of prison. And after he come out back, he was with me a little time still, because him crumble for he come sell him look something, you know. So till me yes, they kill Rodolph. Rodolph kill man at Coral Garden. Me don't know who on him. Me don't know which part name Coral Garden. Right.
Instead of make the man get his medication to keep him, they send him man to prison at 68. When he released from prison, check back his doctor because infection, him feel him belly start to swell. Him declare a policy that I think him find 5 more men with himself and declare a revolution. I blame him not because I done nothing wrong. I was a headman for the property where he didn't do nothing.
Just before the Coral Garden incident, the Sunday evening, I was living in Flankers, and he came and looked for us and didn't told us what he was going to do. And the Thursday, I had a cousin live next door, but he wasn't living up here, he was living down the bottom there. And he run and come to me and say, "Yeah, you know, say your father dead?" He say, "Oh, my father fi dead." He say, "Yeah, man. My father in the Coral Garden incident. Your father in the Coral Garden incident, and me understand, so then kill him."
So we formed 2 parties of men, about 15 men each, in a Y formation, and we decided to go in search of these men. By then, a lot of civilians who have heard about the incident had joined the police party, and we were going in search of the men who had done these heinous crimes. We saw about 5 or 6 Rastafarian men coming towards us, and they paused for a little while after they saw the police vehicle. Then we got out of the vehicle, and one of the men in my party took up his rifle, aimed at the men. He pulled the trigger went off, but the gun did not go off because of course there was no ammunition in the gun. So when the Rasta men observed that the gun did not go off, they more or less thought that the guns were either defective or they were not loaded. So they spurred on, they began to shoot arrows, and then they attacked the police. The police was defenseless, and the citizens who thought that they had to do something because in their opinion the police was not in charge of the situation. So they formed themselves in vigilante groups. And the fact that they heard that Rasta men were involved, they decided to search out for every Rasta man. In fact, whether you are black, white, yellow, or blue, professor, or just anybody, even if you wear a status, if you wear a beard as a little status symbol, you'd be regarded as a Rasta man, you would be beaten and taken to the police station and locked up.
The informative information presented in this video is motivational and is positively aimed at inspiring, educating and entertaining the viewers with the cutting edge of critical reasoning. If you enjoy the contents on the Black Radar YouTube channel, please consider subscribing to show your support.